Hey, second grade, it's Mrs. Fondra here, and today we're doing maybe my most favorite project of the entire school year. It's a watercolor project, which you've done watercolor before, but we're gonna do a little, almost a little science with it today. All right, I wanna show you an example before I tell you what we're exactly doing. But if you look really closely, you can see there's a lot of colors already from only using like two or three colors. But if you look really closely, it actually is kind of crystally. Okay, if you look really close. So what we do to get this really special crystal-like effect is we watercolor normally, and while your paint is still wet, you're gonna put something on top of it. You know what it is? It's at your house. I'm sure you have it. It might be in a cute little cup. But you're going to be putting salt on your watercolor. What? How does that do anything? Okay. Well, here's a fun thing about salt. Maybe you noticed or maybe you didn't. If you ever are eating a salty food like pretzels or potato chips or French fries that have a lot of salt, do you ever notice you get really thirsty afterwards? Like you want to drink a lot of water? Well, that is because salt actually absorbs water. So when it goes in your body, you get thirsty because it's kind of sucking up all the water. Well, not all the water, but some water from your body. All right. The same kind of thing happens in wintertime when you're out driving in slippery roads. What's one of the things they put on the road? Salt. The reason why that is the salt lands on the ice and the snow and kind of starts to absorb it because it's water. And then as it's absorbing it, it kind of cracks it and makes it a little easier to drive on top of and get rid of it. So that's why they put salt on the roads in wintertime, okay? So salt is really kind of fun in that way, and it absorbs water. So the same works for watercolor, all right? So for this project, you really do need some sort of a watercolor. You could go get little palettes with all those little cups in it. That would work. Otherwise, one way to do it at home is you just get a cup of water and add food coloring. All right, that's the easiest way to do it. You might have to do some sample first to see if you need more color or maybe more water. But for this project, we're using cool colors. So that's greens, blues, and purples, okay? I'm just gonna be using blue and purple because you wanna stick with like one or two of those colors. And my one advice I'll tell you is don't mix green and purple because they're very different from each other, because to make green, you need yellow and blue, and to make purple, you need blue and red. So that kind of mixes all of the colors together and it gets kind of weird. So if you want to stick with two colors, don't do green and purple, okay? You could do blue and purple or blue and green, but just don't mix those two, all right? So I'm gonna switch my camera around to kind of give you a quick demo how to do this, all right? So you're gonna want a heavier paper if you have it, a thicker paper. I have watercolor paper at school. If you need some special paper, let me know. Otherwise, just a thicker paper. Computer paper can work. Just be gentle with how much liquid you use. All right. And I have 2 cups of watercolor right here. From your angle, they look pretty dark, but one's blue and one's purple. All right. So it's okay to mix your colors here. Just grab a paintbrush and start going back and forth. And you can see it. You can see where the more water is because it's darker color. And I'm going to kind of just quickly paint a little bit of blue everywhere. Okay, we want to get to the edges of our paper to make sure it's all colored in, but I'm going to use another color too. So I'm going to say I'm going to switch here, and I'm going to dip it into purple, and I'm going to mix it in the areas I didn't paint. And you can see it kind of changes to this really cool like violet blue color. And your paper might bend a little bit because the water is making the paper go sucking that in. So if the paper bends, that's okay. Just use a finger to hold it back in place. All right. And from here, while your painting is still wet, get your salt or your salt shaker and gently do a little light sprinkle of salt. Whoa, a little bit there. All right, and you can see already it automatically, you can see those little tiny itty dots everywhere. Okay, you don't need to cover your whole paper, just a good chunk of it. And that's it. Wow, easy peasy, right? But when it dries, it's going to turn into this really beautiful, sparkly, shiny kind of color. I wish my camera was even better so you could really see. Maybe if I turn this light on, it'll help a little bit. It has this really beautiful, like, sparkly effect to it. Looks like winter. Really looks like winter. So when you're picking this up to move it to a place to dry, so like a counter or somewhere safe, Make sure you're using 2 hands because you don't want to drop it. Okay, if you do 1 hand, you're more likely to drop it. So be careful to use 2. Maybe you want to get a parent to help you with this and then move it to a different spot. Okay, when it's dry, take a photo. Don't do it while it's wet because otherwise, if you see, the water might start to run off your paper. So keep it flat, let it dry, and then take a photo to share with me. All right, I'm so excited to see what you guys come up with and all the colors you're going to do. Oh, it's so exciting. I love it. So please submit these to me on Seesaw or Google Classroom when you're all finished, and I'm looking forward to see what you come up with. All right, happy creating. Can't wait.